Good morning, everybody. Senior School, it's great to see you all here today. This is one of my favorite days at Shady Side, where we get to have what we call the Board of Visitors come and visit with us. Most of these people are coming from out of town, although there are a few who are here in Pittsburgh. They are all alums, and I will read you a little bit of formal paragraph here about their purpose. The Shady Side Academy Board of Visitors was founded in 2001 with a desire to revitalize and strengthen the Academy's bond with alumni across the globe. The Board of Visitors exists to serve as ambassadors for Shady Side Academy, to communicate and promote the school's mission, and to assist the President, Board of Trustees, and administration on relevant school topics. This board is comprised of leaders in various fields of expertise who are strongly committed to maintaining and enhancing the values and resources that make the Academy a center for excellence in academic excellence. Okay. We have a number of people who are here with our board of visitors today, not only the four distinguished guests who I will introduce in just a second, but a number of other people who are here. So if you would just stand for a moment so that we can recognize you and thank you. So, Board of Visitors, please. They range from classes in the 1950s up through we're the teens now, I guess. So it's a wonderful mix of people, and we're so glad to have them here. I'm going to just give bios for each of the people who are up on stage who have agreed so kindly to sit on a panel and just answer a couple of questions that I have for them, and we'll get to that as soon as I tell you who they are. First, to my left, is Mark Kramer, who is the class of 1996. He got his undergraduate degree from the University of Pennsylvania and his MBA from Pepperdine University. Mark is a managing director with PPM America, an asset manager based in Chicago. He joined PPM just this last October to launch a high-yield lending business and grow the group's third-party asset management within the commercial real estate finance group. Mark and his wife Tori reside in Winnetka, Illinois with their two children, Owen and Sydney. Michele Lieber, Shady Side class of 1986, got her undergraduate degree at Brandeis and her law degree at the University of Pittsburgh. Michele serves as president of Blue Point DC and strategic advisor to EverFi, an education technology company. She founded Blue Point DC in November of 2017, a boutique government relations, public affairs, and crisis management firm in Washington, D.C. In this role, Michele helps companies develop strategies to navigate legislative and regulatory opportunities. Prior to founding Blue Point DC, Michele served as Chief Public Policy Officer of Ally Financial from March 2011 to October 2017. Next, we have Doug Mancosh, Shady Side class of 1976, who has his BS from Lehigh in finance. Since 1993, Doug has been the president and owner of B&S Treated Lumber of New England, which is a manufacturer of pressure-treated lumber products. In 1997, Doug founded Fiber Composites, LLC, in New London, North Carolina, which manufactures composite decking, railing, and building materials in North Carolina and Idaho. Doug has recently founded Fiber Commercial Technologies, a company utilizing post-consumer recycled carpet fibers to create building materials for residential and commercial construction. Doug is also a partner with Brooks and Blair Waterfront Development in Pittsburgh. Doug and his wife Kathy are residents of Narragansett, Rhode Island, and Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and have two daughters, Megan and Kate. Abhishek Mehta is a member of the class of 2001 who received his undergraduate degree from the University of Pittsburgh. Abhishek founded Blue Lotus Investment Firm, an India-focused investment firm, in 2015. Blue Lotus was created in order to participate in India's exciting long-term growth story. Prior to Blue Lotus, he was investment director at Brandywine Trust Group, a $9 billion New York-based multifamily office, where he led, among other areas, the firm's investments in emerging markets. Abhishek began his career as investment associate and later as interim head of the investment office at Rockefeller Brothers Fund, a $1 billion foundation. So, how about a round of applause for that? A very accomplished group indeed. They all, however, also have one very important thing with you, which is that they were Shady Side students and are at this point in their lives able to look back on their Shady Side experience and share some of their thoughts with you. So I'm going to ask them a question, and they can decide who gets to answer it first. I don't know that we have to go right down the line. Mark, sorry, whatever you want to do. But the first question that I will ask is, what advice would you give our students as they plan their studies and future endeavors in order to pursue a career like yours or in a related field? What advice? Anybody can begin.
Ladies first. I would say I have kind of two pieces of advice that I recommend for all of you. First is that you find a skill, something you enjoy, and something that you can really hone throughout your career. Because as Amy mentioned in my bio, I had a very lengthy corporate career and then decided to do something entrepreneurial subsequently. And because I have a skill, I was able to do that. The second piece of advice I would suggest to all of you is that you find mentors throughout your career. Even your career today. If you find mentors that you can bounce ideas off, people that you respect, people that you can look up to, and people that you can learn from, I think you will have a much more fruitful career.
I've chosen a path in commercial real estate finance, and over the near 20 years that I've been in the industry, I can't help but take notice of how technology has changed how we make decisions and how information drives decision making, whether it be in real estate or finance or other aspects of day-to-day life. And so, as I can't help but drive in this morning and look at the Tech and Design Hub under construction. And I think for all of you, you should be embracing technology to help you make decisions, to help you in your day-to-day life. A specific example would be learn how to code. Coding's driving everything that we do, from information technology to decision making. And it will be something that you will use excuse me, in your day-to-day life. But don't hide behind technology. A lot of people today, we have smartphones and computers, and it's so easy to communicate with technology, but don't lose contact with people. Go down and talk to people. I look at the young people coming into my offices and working, coming out of college, and they're communicating through technology, but you can't underestimate the power of a conversation or face-to-face interaction. A strong handshake, eye contact with somebody, don't lose sight of that.
So I've been an entrepreneur and didn't really intend to be one. Went out into the corporate world in the 70s growing up in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh was headquarters to some of the largest corporations in the country, so I didn't have a perception that I would go out and actually run 3 businesses, starting 2 of them and coming in after a year on the first one. And I didn't know that skill set existed inside me. So the point I would make to you is it's very hard to leave high school and go to college and select a curriculum that maybe meets what you ultimately do in life. You just don't know the path. The path isn't always clear. And even the path you perceive to be the path is often deviated. In my case, I came out to work in corporate America and go up to the corporate ladder and be like many of the men that I met when I went to school here. In the end, I found myself dragged down into the entrepreneurial world, which is a very, very different type of business experience. What I would suggest to you, if you are interested in business, whether it be corporate or entrepreneur, and you're not quite certain that you want to get into a specific area, that you try to take as many studies as you can across the various disciplines of business. For instance, accounting is very specific, but it's essential to understand the financial data that you look at inside a company that you might work for or one that you might start. Marketing, on the other hand, is very different. It's less detailed in accounting, but it's incredibly important because in the end you're selling and creating interest and demand for a product, whether it be physical product or intellectual product. You have to understand how people view products and how you communicate values and benefits and propositions of them. Management, another part of the business discipline, talks about how to plan production or output and how to manage people. And finance talks about how to manipulate financial investments, debts, and other things required to grow the business. All these are in the general business discipline. So if you are interested in business, when you head off to school and you're not exactly sure exactly what path you want to take, I would try to take the broadest route that you can of these various disciplines in business, because you will use them all, and you'll want to have some knowledge and experience in all of them to the extent that you can learn it in school. And then the truth is, when you go out in your career, you'll be honing all those skills through the activity of it. But you'll have some basis if you take the general coursework into understanding a little bit about everything before you start your career.
So I look at businesses and I see, what companies do well. Are they run by good people? Will they grow? Can I invest with them? And I think one of the most important things to understand is, or I think for any other field, is writing and speaking simply. I think, especially in school, you have certain papers where you have to write an 8-page paper, a 10-page paper, and it's fine. But as you get older and as you see in the world, that if you can take something complex, and this is what we do all the time, we take something complex like in science or other places, and we break it down into ways that we can understand it simply, and then we go on and we can perform and do test work. It's the same thing when you write. If you can take something that's complex and write it in a few words, it means you understand it. But if you take something and you write something very confusing, probably means you don't understand it. So I think one of the most important things, it's also with speaking, keep it simple. Mr. Nivola, he was, I played the guitar, he was my jazz teacher. He also told me, it was actually as a corollary, he would say, when you solo, don't just start playing and keep playing and take pauses. And I think that's really important. When you write, when you speak, take pauses, let someone digest what you're saying. And I think that really makes a big difference when you go out and you communicate what you want to sell or what you want to buy.
Okay, the second one might be easier, it might be harder, I'm not sure. What is your most cherished memory of Shady Side that you can share?
I guess I have to go first. I've actually thought about this, and I have a few, but the first and most important one is that I had a teacher at Shady Side that I really admired a lot and spent a lot of time learning from. And he would constantly say to me repeatedly, one thing that really struck him about me as a young person your age was that I was a problem solver. And the funniest thing is that has come back to me regularly throughout my life. So it happened through law school. It really was something that I kind of would say in the back of my mind, oh, I was told I'm a problem solver. I have to solve these problems. And now in my business, I spend the vast majority of my day solving people's problems. And so for me, it was that little tiny word of encouragement or comment that came from just an observation from a really devoted teacher that kind of guided me throughout my entire life and has enabled me to have a career that I really feel very strong about. So that was very special to me.
It's really hard to break it down into a particular moment, but my experience here was very much defined by the student-athlete experience. So I'll give one example for each of those. And for two individuals who are in the room who believed in me before I probably believed in myself. So Sue Whitney, my 9th grade mathematics teacher, geometry specifically. I came in freshman year and she started talking about the Peace Corps, and I'm like, why is my geometry teacher talking about this? She's quirky in a very great way, and she captivated my attention and believed in me before I could believe in myself. And then on the athletic side, I was a swimmer here at Shady Side, so John Landra, wherever you are in the audience, very much helped me in my athletic side of my time here, and I was proud to be part of the state championship relay team in 1995, which was a record at that time. But I think what was really cool about that was, I think that my facts could be a little bit off, but that was the first year that Shadyside joined the Woodgill League, and in that year we had 3 teams that were state championships: the basketball team with the late Peter Sauer, our relay winning championship, and the women's doubles who won the state title. And I thought that was really cool to put Shadyside on that athletic map.
So I failed to come up with one particular experience. I will tell you this, and I think that what's Shadyside, my perception of my time at Shadyside is this: almost every success that you will have in your life will be the result of people that are part of your life. The world is about people, business success, creation of product, success in sales, any activity you do is really a function of a collaboration of many people that supported you, mentored you, worked with you to complete that activity. When I was at Shadyside, this class of 100 students just like you really were, to me, the great experience of being at Shadyside. The collective group of us, the friendships we had, the experiences we had together, the competitive experiences we had in athletics, the social experiences we had, the homecoming preparations, all the relationships you make here really are a practice to the relationships you'll make through the rest of your life. So the greatest asset and experience I had in Shadyside with people I went to school with, in our collaboration together as a group, to have just a superb high school experience and friendships that last a lifetime. And I encourage you to always look to people as the greatest asset around you, and make sure you keep them close to you even after you depart of this location, because they can be very important through your whole life.
Music, my most cherished memory here was music. It certainly wasn't academic. Maybe because I played music all the time. And I'd like to thank Mr. Mola. He was a great. And for me, whether it was jazz band or my own band, I was always playing music, and it was a great outlet. And I'd say actually one highlight actually comes from Dr. Brill, because he had asked me to play with the orchestra to kind of play the vocals and the solo for Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. And it was the coolest thing that I'd ever done. So I would say by and far, music is the most cherished memory there.
I just want to thank everybody for, all our Board of Visitors members for their input. I find it fascinating that their cherished memories of Shadyside are the exact same things that most of us here think are important. It's not just the papers you write and the labs you do, that kind of thing. It is the human beings in your life here, the adults and your peers. And even Abhishek has mentioned a couple of times Mr. Nivola. These are relationships that matter. This is what makes Shadyside terrific. So I'm gratified that that's their memory too. So thank you all. I also want to, before I just close, and I think I dismiss everybody, is that? Yeah. Before I do, I want to mention that our incoming president of the Academy, Bart Griffith, is here today, and he's back here. He has been a member of the Board of Visitors for, I think it's 10 years now. And so he has kept in touch with us through this wonderful group. And I know he will be happy to say hello to you if you see him along the line somewhere today. He's probably the tallest member of the Board of Visitors, so you'll find him that way. Oh, Remington, I'm sorry. Well, he's one of the tallest Board of Visitors. So thank you all so much for your attention. Thank you to the Board of Visitors.